Hey guys, welcome back to the LSKN. In this week's video, we have star defender and one of my favorite players from the Geelong Cats, Tom Atkins, joining us. Well, this video is basically about what it takes to play AFL, and on behalf of myself and everyone else in this video, we thank Tommy for joining us. Kieran, would you like to get us started with a question?
Yeah, sure thing. Love to. I've got a question here for Tom. What sort of diet does an AFL player like yourself have? Is it club provided or do you have some control?
Yeah, good question. So we have a dietitian at the club. Her name's Dom. She typically works with you if you're struggling with your food. So when I first got to the club, I was a bit porky. We do skin fold testings, and that sort of tells you where you're at. When I got to the club, I was a little bit chunky, and I went through probably an eating program with her, just foods to steer clear of, and what to eat post game day and stuff. But now, this is my third year, so now I can just run it all myself. But typically it just means on days off when you're not training, just reducing carbs. So, not trying to stick clear of bread, pasta, rice. And when you are training, because you're going to need those carbs, then you can sort of fuel up on those days where you have trained. So, but as well as that, we've got a chef that comes in and cooks 3 days a week in at the club. So, we're pretty lucky in that aspect. So, yeah.
Yep. I got another one here for you. What does it take for a club like Geelong to be so consistent? Because the club's been a part of finals every year you've been there. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Someone said we've been to a prelim like 8 out of the last 11 years or something. Just a ridiculous
that's a great record.
Definitely it starts with the leadership for sure. Joel and the other more senior players at the club, and obviously the staff too. We had Brian Cook, who's just left this year, and we've got Lloydie, who's our head of football. We've got Hock coming back, who was there for a bit as well. So yeah, I think the systems that those guys put in place, just allows us to always compete. We've obviously we've had some legends play for the club as well, which is handy too. So definitely just obviously the players that we've had, and the administrating staff as well, just with the sort of the structure they've used to draft. And sorry, I should mention Wellesley and those guys, how they've done with their recruiting and stuff as well. So all that.
Yep. Someone else want to go?
Yeah, you go, Ned.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love you. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'll let Ned go first.
What kind of aspect of the game do you focus on the most, like marking, kicking, handballing, stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a good one. It changed this year, obviously. I usually, typically before a game, I like to write down things that they like to do well, things that we like to do well as a team, and then things that I need to do well during the game. And then that'll just be to keep it in my head, leading up to the game. But then at the start of the game, I'll probably only think of 2 or 3 points from that section that was more my individual focus areas. So it changes each game. But typically it'll be something that I think I didn't do too well in the last game. For example, if I felt like I was on the back foot a bit, and I was a bit scared to when I got the ball, if I was looking to give it off straight away, in the previous game, maybe this game, I'm keen to take my ground and, be a bit more confident with ball in hand. But that's just one example. There's heaps of stuff that changes week to week depending on who you're playing. As a defender, I'll sometimes get a role, someone that I'll have to play on. So might be focusing on a few things that they don't like, and trying to execute that. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, gotcha. Love, you want to have a go?
I'll ask a question. How many times in a day or week would you kick the footy?
Per day, so we typically train we're in a training 4 days a week, and then obviously we play a game on the weekend. And, you know, at a main training session, you might kick the footy, I don't know, it's hard to say, maybe 100, 200 times. So, and then at the lighter sessions, you might do 50 or 100. So, yeah, you can do the math there. I don't know, what's that, nearly 1,000 or something. So, yeah, quite a bit. But, yeah, you'd think we'd all be pretty good kicks, but not everyone's a great kick, myself included.
I'd say you're a pretty good kick. Just one more question. What kinds of drills would you do to make sure you are as fit and strong as possible?
Yeah, well, the fitness and strength we typically do over this period that's coming up. So we don't do a lot of fitness stuff during the year when games are on at all. So that'll sort of start. I think we're back November 26th, and you know, we do sort of 12-kilometer days, 3 days a week. So it can be pretty intense, pretty draining, a lot of those sessions. But that's sort of where we build up our fitness base. To get more specific, we do like a 15-minute run as one of our tests. So it's pretty self-explanatory. You just go out and run for 15 minutes and see how far you can run. So that's one way that we judge, you know, sort of where we're at. You can imagine the blokes that would sort of win that. I think Blitz has won it every year he's been at the club, and Grind's pretty good as well. And then for strength, during the year we do weights, but it's not as intense as what we will do over the next sort of 3 months before Christmas. It's typically more just like power stuff. So trying to keep yourself explosive rather than trying to put mass on. So yeah.
Seb, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so like our Luxury was saying, there's a few of us that want to play AFL when we're older. When you, on your journey to the AFL, when you ever doubted yourself, like you had like a setback, what would you do to get yourself back on track?
Yeah, it's a good point. I am a bit of a different story because I obviously didn't get drafted at 18, and I was never really a chance to make AFL when I was a junior. Like I was just a local footballer that, sort of just played school footy, enjoyed it. Like was one of my favourite things to do, obviously, and wasn't too bad at the local level. But I think just trying to keep things in perspective, like especially for kids who I have seen that sort of come up and they're sort of touted from 15, 16, 17, 18 that they're going to be in the system. Like it's a no-brainer that they'll get drafted, and then it doesn't happen, you know, whether through injury or, you know, whether clubs just didn't like you or whatever. Just trying to keep it in perspective and, not let it get you too down. Like there's still things to enjoy in life that's not playing AFL footy. And that's certainly something I found out, you know, by not being in the system early. I had 5 years where I just went to uni. I played local footy. And even now, like I love playing AFL footy, but they were some of the best times that I've had in my life so far. So I just think keeping it in perspective, just thinking, you know, could be worse. You know, I'm still able to run around and play footy, you know, just because I'm not in the AFL. And then just working hard, like trying to figure out what stuff that they didn't like about you, and trying to fix that stuff up. So that, eventually you can get into a system and try and play a role. But yeah, obviously my story is a bit different. So I can't really speak for, you know, the disappointment of being 18 and everyone telling you you're going to play AFL and then it doesn't happen. So that would be pretty hard to deal with.
Okay. Another question. Who's been the hardest player you've ever played on?
Yeah, I've had this question a bit actually. I've got one in mind. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to pump him up. Who else? Well, probably maybe a good example. My first game, I think it was, we played Collingwood at home on a Friday night, and I remember I got done with about 4 or 5 ball fakes by Pendles over the night. Like I just kept I kept trying to rush in and biting on his ball fakes, and that was certainly a rude awakening. I think I missed about 5 tackles, whereas it's probably one of my stronger parts of my game. It's meant to be anyway. So just for the sake of this, I'll say Pendles.
Fair enough. Any of you boys got any more questions? I think Loveshire's got a bit of a question for you.
Tom, is there any chance of you getting that fight over the Cats? My brother wanted to know.
No chance, mate. No chance. What, for Clarkie?
Yeah.
No way. I wouldn't have thought. We'd have to give up a fair bit. I think we've already done our mega trade, getting Jez down last year. Yeah. But I obviously wouldn't say no if you wanted to come over here.
Yeah.
Do
you boys have any other questions?
I got one.
You go, Ned.
Growing up, did you always go for Geelong or did you go for another team?
Yeah, Geelong. Yeah, I grew up in Geelong. I went to all the clinics and stuff when I was a kid, and I probably didn't really like them too much when I got to 18. I sort of, because I was playing in the VFL and stuff, it was a bit of Geelong overload. But certainly up until I was, 16, 17, I loved the Cats.
What junior footy club did you play for?
I played at St Joseph's in Geelong. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you know the GFL at all, but we had a bit of success. I think we won a seniors premiership in 2015, and then they went on to win in 2018, 2017 as well. So they're a very strong club down here.
Oh, good stuff.
Just one more thing, Tom. Who was your biggest role model while growing up?
Yeah, definitely my dad for sure. My dad was a very good footballer himself. He sort of played. He got on to Melbourne's rookie list, I think, and might have played one game for the Dogs. But anyway, that aside, I didn't really know much of that growing up. But just going to his local footy games and spending time with him in the backyard, kicking the footy, and then once I was old enough to talk to him and stuff, just watching footy with him and listen to him talk about the game. He coached me when I was in under 18s. We won a flag, under 18s team with him as coach, and even just now, he's still probably the biggest role model in my life. So just always learning off him.
You guys have any other questions?
Who was your favorite player growing up?
Probably Joel. Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, I think he was just unreal. That whole time where I was sort of getting into footy and stuff and playing myself, he was just a beast. Everything you wanted to be as a kid.
Yeah.
How did you cope with the challenge of trying to play in a new position? Because as a Cats fan, I knew that you were playing in a different position at the end of the 2020 grand final. You were trialed out for defense, and now you're a really good defensive player. How did you cope with that?
Yeah, no, I was just excited because I knew that obviously I got dropped from the forward line, and I knew that we'd got Jez in, we got Higo in, and it just didn't look like I wasn't a good forward by any margin. So I just knew that I was going to struggle this year to get a game. This one just gone. And when Scarlo said, do you want to try down back? I was just really excited to try and learn some new craft and hopefully play games this year. I obviously I owe a lot to Scarlo for just giving me the opportunity, and then having the faith to play me in round one and stuff like that. So, but no, I really enjoyed it. I love this year. I love the defenders. Probably my strength of my game is defending. Even when I was on forward, I was a terrible attacker. I was all defense. So, it makes sense for me to be playing down there, I guess. But I'm keen to see who our coach is this year. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I've got a question as well. What was Chris Scott like? Is he always up and about, and very emotive when you guys get a win and all that?
No, Scotty's very controlled most of the time. He does, he gets emotional. That's what you see in the box and that sort of stuff. And but no, most of the time he's very controlled and he's just a real deep thinker. Like he thinks a lot about what he's saying and what's happening in the game. And he's a great coach. Yeah, he's been awesome so far. Hopefully we can pay him back a bit for what he's done over the last 10 years. Really enjoying playing under him.
I've got another question. What was the favorite game you've ever played in the AFL? What was your favorite game?
Favorite game? Got to be the Bulldogs this year when Gary kicked the winner. That was
That's a good game.
Yeah, that was unreal. Yeah, it was like, I likened it to sort of making the grand final or that sort of feeling. Just yelling and screaming and just getting around each other. It was just it was great. And obviously, the way that the goal went down was awesome as well. Like, we were right in front of the crowd too, so it was really good.
Yep. Does anyone have anything else?
I just want to say thanks for giving up your time, Tom.
Yeah,
Really
thank
No
you.
worries. No worries, boys. Again, sorry that I stood you up last night.
No, good.
No, it's all right. It's all good.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next week on the LSKN.
Shoulder to shoulder, half and Richard, have a look at this there. What a contest, two committed players.
It didn't stop him. Constable, the tricks. He can do it all, Tom Atkins. Even if not by design.
Dangerfield got it from Kelly, gets the ball deep. Oh, that is a good mark by Atkins. Wow, that was a terrific contested mark.
Picks it up on the half volley. Got 3 seconds and counting. Atkins desperately wants a goal and he's got it.
Government had no worries to Atkins.